So today I'm here to talk to you about caring. I know it might sound a little bit crazy when you speak of businesses and caring. But I think it's very important today that just the way this place has been repurposed, we could start repurposing businesses and implement new notions that were not necessarily in the business before. Stakeholders, revenues, market shares, all these words and all these notions are very known to all of us here. I'm sure there's a lot of business people in the room. But the idea is to rethink businesses and start thinking of new notions like citizenship, belonging, responsibility, mindfulness, empathy, meaning, purpose, people, the planet, sustainability, kindness, and impact. I firmly believe that impact is the new money. And we'll have examples later on with the great speakers that we have today here. So my name is Nora, and I'm the founder of Who Cares. Thank you all for being here. I very much appreciate the audience being here today. I know there's options, so I'm glad that you're here. Who Cares was born in Toronto first, my home. I started with one first project, which was after many, many years of advising companies in their development and their strategy, I was faced with a difficulty with a mining group that was having issues with the project that they had. And we looked at the strategy, but we also looked at the impact that they were having. So I decided to take a jump and advise them as well on the impact that they were going to have on the community in which they were creating this project. So that was the first of many, because then I moved to New York, and in 2007, I moved there. It was right before the crisis, the financial crisis, and funny enough, or not funny enough, but funny enough, my office was facing Lehman Brothers offices. So I had a front row seat to to the demise of the financial system. And at the same time, I was actually building Who Cares. I was looking at companies, and I was very hungry for knowledge in the field of CSR. So I started meeting CEOs. Of course, I was always meeting CEOs because I was doing a strategy for them, but I started to meeting them in a different context. I started asking them how were their CSR, how were they actually having an impact, and how it was structured. And I was very disappointed because I ended up finding three models. The first one was a very big corporation with a foundation, but very little communication between the two entities. The second model was a director in CSR or a manager in CSR. And the last one was, and the worst one, I believe, was a marketing or communications manager or director that was also handling CSR. And I also noticed that a lot of the great practices or good practices in the field of CSR were not even making it to the annual report. And I figure that if we don't have exposure to that, if we're not knowledgeable about the great practices, we can't be inspired by them. So I decided to create a new position and promote it in the corporate world, and I've named him Chief Care Officer. Why caring, you probably would ask, and somebody asked me that recently, but they pointed out, which I was very happy to hear, that it's much more enticing when you link caring, or at least CSR, to an emotion, much more than sustainability or responsibility. I think caring goes far deeper and has much more meaning. And so the Chief Care Officer was born, and also I decided to start documenting any great practice that I saw in order for them to be featured and duplicated. And I also started looking for Chief Care Officers, people that actually were Chief Care Officers but didn't know it. And I started writing about it for Conscious Magazine, for whom I still write today. It's based out of New York, and it's available in 25 countries. So this is Who Cares. And what does the Chief Care Officer do, you probably would ask, I guess. But a Chief Care Officer is sort of the conscience of the company. They look at every department, they try to change from within, just like here, actually. It was changed from within. I mean, the structure, the skeleton of the station is still here, but the inside is completely different. It's innovative, and it's bustling with ideas, and I think the Chief Care Officer does the same thing. he brings from the inside a new way of looking at business.